Is the way the Republican Party picks its nominee essentially corrupt? That's what Donald Trump is saying. He's saying it's corrupt and it's crooked. What brought this to the fore is the Colorado situation over the weekend, won by Ted Cruz. Mostly, voters didn't get to vote. It's not a primary. It's not a classic caucus. It's hard to explain even on videotape. It's a bunch of people get together to choose delegates to county assemblies and district conventions, and those people in turn decide who the state of Colorado should back for the GOP nominee. In other words, you're not really voting for a candidate, you're voting for somebody else, and these are obviously party insiders. And Ted Cruz's campaign is better at working the inside game than Donald Trump's campaign has been. And it's not crooked in the sense that everybody knew in advance that these were the rules, but it sure does seem undemocratic, and this hands Donald Trump on a silver platter an issue that fits perfectly with his campaign. I mean, here is a guy who's running against the GOP establishment, who says the party establishment hasn't done anything for millions and millions of voters, that Donald Trump, is going to fix that he's going to go to Washington, he's going to shake things up, and yet he loses a state like Colorado, and also in the caucus states, he is either being out-organized or just not very adept at playing that inside game. And I think that a lot of this gets way too complicated for the average voter and viewer as the media focus more and more and more on delegate math and arcane party procedures. But we have a similar situation on the Democratic side. As Trump pointed out, Bernie Sanders keeps winning states, and he's not necessarily getting more delegates in those states than Hillary Clinton. That happened over the weekend in Wyoming. Easily won by Bernie Sanders, and yet he and Hillary splitting the same number of delegates. And then don't even get me started on super delegates, which is basically an insurance policy in the Democratic Party to make sure that no insurgent candidate can take the nomination away from the party's establishment's favorite. So I think that people are going to get kind of mad about this, because when you really shine a media spotlight the way some of these states pick delegates, and this is even before we get to, say, a contested convention in Cleveland when people who had been Trump delegates could vote for Cruz or Kasich or Paul Ryan on the second, third, or fourth ballot, it all starts to look pretty ugly and pretty undemocratic. So I think we're going to hear more from Donald Trump, who's way ahead in New York, who's way ahead in Pennsylvania, but this is a great issue for him because it seems to get at the heart of people being angry at the establishment, being angry at government, not trusting either political party. And if the political parties are seen as playing games with the way that delegates are selected to pick the nominee, then that's going to erode their credibility, and it will help outsider candidates like Sanders and like Trump.